This video will describe the cutting and slicing of veneers or thin wood slices from wood boards using the Accu-Slice bandsaw accessory to produce thin boards or veneers, such as these, used for marquetry or inlaying. The veneers or thin slices of wood used for marquetry or inlaying are typically between 25 thousandths of an inch thick and 50 thousandths of an inch thick. These thin veneers of wood are easily and accurately sliced using the Accu-Slice bandsaw accessory. The thin boards or veneers produced will have smooth surfaces that do not require additional sanding before gluing. Using the Accu-Slice system, the operator can cut thin slices of wood at any thickness from 10,000ths of an inch up to ½ an inch thick with an accuracy or tolerance of better than 2,000ths of an inch over the entire surface of the board. Therefore, all of your boards sliced can be cut to the exact same thickness required, thereby eliminating excessive and time-consuming sanding of your final project. In this video, I will demonstrate the slicing of thin veneers from 6 different wood blocks, each of a different size and different wood species. From each of these wood blocks, I sliced off multiple 25 thousandths inch thick veneer wood strips. Each of the wood strips was the exact same thickness. It was flat and had parallel surfaces. In addition, the surfaces of the sliced pieces were smooth, which would not require additional sanding before gluing into your marquetry project. This is quite beneficial in marquetry. By having the wood veneers of exactly the same thickness, as shown here, this eliminates the time-consuming and excessive sanding of the finished marquetry project. Also unique is the ability to slice small scrap pieces of wood safely and accurately for your marquetry project, such as this 1-inch square block of Katalox wood from which we sliced off multiple 25 thousandths inch thick veneer strips while keeping the hands and fingers far removed from the bandsaw blade. Finally, in this video, I'll demonstrate the ability of the Accu-Slice system to cut even thinner veneer strips. Initially, I cut a bunch of these 25 thousandths inch thick veneer strips, but I also cut some 10 thousandths inch veneer strips and even some 5 thousandths of an inch thick veneer strips. This demonstrates the accuracy and precision of the system to cut thin wool slices perfectly, flat, and with parallel surfaces. The Accu-Slice system consists of a carriage and rail system that rides on the table on the bandsaw. So I begin by taking this piece of Tigerwood. I've attached some double-sided tape to the back, and I'm going to attach that to the sacrificial fence on the Accu-Slice and then lightly clamp it in place just to set the tape. The system is moved such that the board just touches the bandsaw blade. The coarse adjustment knobs are locked in place. The wood moved back away from the bandsaw blade, and now the wood advanced one full turn of this indexing wheel, which is 50 thousandths of an inch. That 50 thousandths of an inch is the exact diameter or kerf of the bandsaw blade. And then I want to square off this board, so I'll just take off an additional 25 thousandths of an inch. Lock my nag jigs clamps in place, and I'm ready to start cutting this board. That initial cut was just to square the surface of this board so that all subsequent cuts will be parallel, perfectly parallel to this surface. So it'll be exact same thickness, the entire length and height of the board. That speed that was cut was normal cutting speed. You don't want to push it through the blade too quickly. If you push it through the blade too quickly, you're going to get rougher surfaces. The slower you push the board through the bandsaw blade, the smoother the cut. So next we wanted to cut our first board. So the process would be, first of all, advancing the board 50,000ths of an inch, one full turn of the indexing wheel. That's again is the curve for the blade. And now I want a board 25,000ths of an inch thick, so I just advance this another 25,000ths. Lock my mag jigs and clamps in place, and I'm ready to start cutting. And there I produced 3 slices of Tigerwood, all the exact same thickness, 25,000ths thick each, and nice, clean, smooth surfaces on all the boards. For this next board, we're going to cut a piece of some box elder, 6 inches high by about 12 inches long. And again, there's double-sided tape on the board. We'll mount this to the sacrificial fence. And actually that board I cut off just to square this surface so that all subsequent cuts will be perfectly straight and parallel to that surface. But the board I cut off, I just put a gauge on it, and it's pretty accurate because the system was all squared up before I started. So that board actually could be used, not to go to waste. But in any case, the next step is to loosen my mag jig clamps, advance it, the thickness of the blade, another 25,000ths, and we're ready to cut our first 25,000ths inch thick board. This is the resulting slice coming off of there. Perfectly straight, parallel. Nice smooth surface. If you notice in that cut, there was no blade drift. That's a question we often get. Because the wood is mounted to the fence, the wood does not move as you're cutting it. The only force on the blade is passing into the blade. Therefore, we don't see blade drift like you normally see when you're cutting by hand against the fence. So that's why these boards are all nice and straight. There's no, saw marks, no burn marks, and the surfaces are very, very smooth. The one thing you do see at the end of the bandsaw cut, you typically get this edge. This is where the bandsaw blade just kicks off at the very end. So you typically got to cut that off with a chisel or sand it off, but that's the only removal of wood that's required from your wood. But if I put a gauge on this just to check measurements, here I got 26,000ths, 27,000ths, 26,000ths, 25,000ths, 26,000ths, 27,000ths, 27,000ths. So you can see that board is perfectly straight and parallel within 2,000 of an inch tolerance the whole way around. And nice smooth surface. Did you ever have this small scrap of wood in the shop that had just the right grain pattern for a project, but it was so small you didn't know how you could cut it? Well, it's no issue with the Accu-Slice. This is a piece of Katalox, about an inch square. I put some double-sided tape on it. We'll attach it to our fence, and we'll cut some 25,000th inch slices off of this small piece of wood. And our hands and fingers are far away from the blade. We would not want to do this the old-fashioned way by using a bandsaw fence. Same process, lock my fence in place. And that easily and quickly, I sliced 4 25,000th inch thick pieces off that approximate 1 inch square piece of Katalox wood. Nice smooth surfaces, could easily be used for a marquetry project from a scrap piece of wood. Another different size sample of wood. This is a piece of cherry, about an inch and a quarter, inch and a half thick, by about 3 inches high. And again, we'll clamp this to our fence once again with the double-sided tape. And once again, we produce 3 slices of cherry, again 25,000th inch thick, perfectly flat, straight, parallel, and nice clean cuts once again. This is an example of a longer board. We've done boards up to 40 inches long using the 24-inch carriage and a longer rail. But with this rail, I can cut this piece. This is about 18 inches long, about 1.5 inches wide. And again, we just attach it to the fence once again. In their projects. Now this piece of wood I cut off could easily be used for a marquetry project. It's not exactly perfectly straight because the board may not have been perfectly flat. In fact, I put a gauge on this and it measures between 25 and 35,000ths of an inch. So it's about a 10,000th inch variation from one end to the other in this board. And there is the 3 slices of poplar cut off that board, 25,000th inch thick. Again, straight, parallel, and nice, smooth, clean surfaces. Again, to show you some of the additional capabilities, those pieces were 25,000ths, but I can easily cut a piece 10,000ths of an inch thick. So let's just do that. Advance this 1 blade thickness plus 10,000ths of an inch. And there we produced a piece of poplar wood, 1.5 inch wide, 10,000 inch thick. Could easily be rolled into a circular shape because it's so thin. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to try cutting a piece maybe 5,000 to 7,000 inch thick. That's 10, and that's 5 thousandths. And that's pretty amazing there. There's a piece of poplar, 1.5 inches wide, 18 inches long, 5,000 to 7,000 inch thick. In fact, this could be rolled into a very, very small circular shape because it's so thin, it's like tissue paper. Next we have a piece of walnut, about 1 inch, 1.25 inches wide, 8 inches long. And I put double-sided tape on the back. Clamp it to the fence. And there we have 4 slices of that walnut board. All the same thickness, 25 thousandths, nice smooth surfaces. So all of these boards cut now are the exact same thickness, which makes it quite nice in doing your marquetry that I can take any of these pieces, do my pattern, and they're the exact same thickness all the way around. So when you do your marquetry pattern and glue it up, you don't have to worry about changes in height, requiring a ton of sanding to get everything nice and straight. And the surfaces are smooth. I mean, this surface is smooth enough for a glue surface. You know, it may not be smooth enough for a finished sanding surface, but it's definitely smooth enough for a glue surface. But every board is exactly the same thickness.